Alright, hello everyone! Welcome back to another episode of Yu-Gi-Oh Master Duel. This is Supernova here, and a little bit of an apology for the lack of content, over the last week. I did, unfortunately, had to go through a quarantine situation, and somehow I ended up with a sore throat later throughout the week, but it's all good now. I'm currently recovering in my room, and, I've been having fun playing Master Duel, everything's, good. Except for the undeserved Eva ban for Drytron. That was the most undeserved ban ever, but I have a deck list, thankfully, for post-ban list, which I will be sharing eventually. Not this episode, but another time. But I do have a deck list for post-ban list Drytron, so be on the lookout for that sometime soon, once we get the ban list here. But anyway, I'm currently doing good with ranked. I mean, I haven't done ranked a lot, but I've only lost once from my journey to ranked, and I made my way all the way to Silver 1. I should be at Gold 5 soon. And I'm going to present to you the deck that I did it with. And yes, this is the deck that I did it with. I did it with pure Drytron, and you're going to find a lot of my deck choices a little bit questionable. I mean, I'm not even playing Entis, actually. I'll make that change right now. Let's go ahead and take this Mirage Lights. Mirage Lights is a good filler if you don't have Entis as a spoiler alert, but anyway, we're just going to replace it with Elder Enzi Entis real quick. Okay, yeah, there's updated, because for some reason, was saying Mirage Lights isn't like a budget version. I was looking for a couple profiles, so yeah, that could explain that. But anyway, here is my Drytron list. Now, I'll explain to you mostly everything that Drytron does, which is basically a lot of good things, where you end on your boss monster in Herald of Ultimateness. You also, typically your end board should be Ultimateness with either 2 to 3 negates. I mean, at most you'll probably have 4 or 5. You'll have an IP Masquerena into Unicorn combo ready to go to disrupt your opponent during their turn. And on top of that, you'll probably have 3 extra Drytron monsters. So anyway, Drytron is a machine ritual-based archetype that aims to get monsters down the field as quickly as they can to utilize their ritual spell, Mediumist Drytron, which, if you have not seen Mediumist Drytron, it's your ritual spell that rituals monsters from your hand or graveyard based on attack points and not levels. As you see, most of the Drytron monsters here are level 1, but all your monsters are within 2,000 attack, and obviously the big Drytron monster, Draconid's 4,000. So you could ritual summon most of these monsters using attack points. All the Drytron monsters are 2,000 attack points. Meaning, for all your monsters except for Draconids, you could use one monster to ritual summon any of your monsters. The neat thing about Mediumist Drytron is that if you have a Drytron monster in your field and then you have one of them lose exactly 1,000 attack, you can get it back to your hand once per turn. Meaning you can get Recurtus twice. You can go through your combo pretty quickly. So the aim of the game is to either set up a Herald of Ultimateness on your first turn, or eventually LT Cannon with cards like Axis No Talker, Warlord Dragon, or even Divine Arsenal, AA Zeus, Sky Thunder. That's pretty much most of the end goal. But anyway, we're gonna go through the card by card. I'm gonna go through a very different order. Alpha. Okay, so all the Drytron main deck monsters have a condition where they have to tribute either a Drytron or a ritual monster to summon themselves, and then to get a bonus effect. And so basically, what Alpha does is when you summon it, you get to add any ritual monster. We're only playing 6. Okay, so we're only playing 6. We're playing Triple Benton, we're playing 1 Natasha, 1 Ultimatus, 1 Draconids. Zeta, when you summon it, will add a ritual spell, which we're only playing 1, which is going to be Mediumist Drytron. So it will suck it will kind of suck if you open it, but it's fine. Then we go to Gamma, which summons a Drytron from Grave, which is really good, near the end of your combo, because you can then set up your IP Masquerena plays, or set up an Xyz play if you're going second. And just finish the gist of it. And our last one, we're only playing 1 Delta. I would argue playing 2, but I preferred 1 because you really only need to resolve Delta, I think, once throughout your combo. And Delta's like the most niche of them all. Where if you reveal a ritual spell or a ritual monster when you summon it, you get to draw one. So all what he's had to do is to trigger Benson's tribute effect, which is if his card's tributed, you can add a life fairy from your deck to your hand. Not once per turn, you can search itself, and it's pretty much one of your most broken monsters you're ever going to witness in this deck. Now, let's go over most of the things, like commentary, like things that supplement the deck, like Diviner the Herald. This card, when normal special summon, will send a life fairy from your deck or extra deck to the graveyard and gain levels based on the monster it's sent. Typically, you want to be sending Arclight to the graveyard so that you could gain its graveyard effect, which is to add a ritual monster or a ritual spell, meaning you could add a combo piece. Where if you're missing a second Benson or if you're missing a Meteos in your hand, you can just get it off the Diviner. And you could also nichely send Elder Entities to the graveyard so that you could destroy any card your opponent has. Like any day it could be in your Disruptor's end. Okay. That's going to be most of what you're going for. And when your boss monster is a side range of Natasha, this is notoriously good going second. Where, while it's on the field, you could gain life points equal to a monster you control half his attack points. So, like, if you're targeting your own Drytron monster that has 2,000 attack points, you gain 1,000 life. But if you ritual summon this properly, and then it gets sent to the graveyard, you can banish a side range monster and steal one of your opponent's monsters to special summon this. You can do this as long as you have your Bentens in your graveyard, and this is really good for setting up your link, like your link climbing into your Nightmare Unicorn, your Borosaur, your Axis Code. And that pretty much, this is just a game ender on itself. Second boss monster is Ultimateness. What's good about this is that you can discard a fairy to negate a summon, or negate a monster spell or trap activation. So if there's anything that you need to be negating that could get you anywhere, then that could get your opponent to, combo off. You can basically just negate it, and then they'll just cry, maybe rage quit. Here's a clip I did during a stream.
Let's see what he has. Wait, is that a special summon? Yeah, it's a special summon of Gillosaurus. That's fine. Gillosaurus is fine, because I don't think you can do too much with it. Special Wielder, that's where I think I drop it. That's where I dropped the summon. Okay. Yep, that does it. You gotta be smart. That's the explanation of you gotta be smart with your negates. Because the Gillosaurus is really doing nothing. He needed that wielder. He needed it.
Yeah, pretty much. The best thing about Ultimate is that you can decide what you want to stop. Because if what your opponent is doing that can disrupt their play, like that Gillosaurus right there, I had to stop the summon of the Psychic Tracker or Psychic Wielder. I forgot what it was. And basically, they wanted to go for a rank 3 XC summon. I just stopped them there, and then I just would have out-negated his whole hand. Basically, it's the gist of it. And our final ritual monster we're running is Drytron Medianus Draconids, which is basically your most niche ritual monster. It's not great if you open it. It's like really one of your worst draws. But it's not like the worst card in the deck. Like, it can do work. Like 4,000 attack and defense is like super hard to beat over by itself. And then during your opponent's turn, you can banish monsters from your graveyard whose combined attack is 2,000 or 4,000. You can send that many cards from take control to the graveyard, which could pretty much disrupt their turn pretty badly. I remember doing this against a Megalith player, and I absolutely destroyed his ritual summon because I sent his OPL to the graveyard with Draconids. It's really funny if you pull this off. And now finally, our hand traps, so to say, our check choices. So we're playing Herald of Orange Light because most of our deck's fairy, and this is searchable. So what Orange Light does is that during either player's turn when a monster effect's activated, you can discard this and another fairy to negate a monster effect. Purple Light does the same thing as Orange Light, but this is for traps. And the reason you play these is that you don't want your opponent to like disrupt you with cards like Maxi, Ash Blossom, all those. And with the Purple Light, you don't want to get impermanence. So That's pretty much like why we're playing the orange light. This is probably cuttable, but I had to come up once, so I really happy I played this. And our final hand track that we're playing is Artifact Lancia, which is also searchable off Ben 10. So what this does during either player's turn is that you contribute this, your opponent just never banish any cards. So it's good for Tri-Brigade because you could stop the Tri-Brigade player from banishing cards to get their link summon, like their Shirag or Berry G, and access their Bear Bombs and stuff. And but you also like stop other decks like what other decks, man? Grand Manju, technically Grand Manju, any deck that just likes banishing, like Orcust, stuff like that, they will not like Artifact Lancia. But, if you don't think Lancia is that good, you could obviously replace it with Maxi, you could obviously replace it with Ash Blossom, and I think you still will be fine. But this is one of the best hand tracks you could probably play just because it's searchable. And, with Tri-Brigade being everywhere, it wouldn't be a bad thing to hold on to. And finally, I cannot express to you how much you need to play Vanity's Ruler in this deck, but you need Vanity's Ruler. It's like the best counter to Maxi in this deck, because I cannot explain this to you thoroughly enough. This is a 2 tribute. You have to tribute 2 monsters to summon this. 2500 attack. Your opponent cannot special summon monsters as long as it's on the field. And basically, this is like your Maxi counter, right? If your opponent Maxis you, you have to aim for Vanity's Ruler, and pretty much you just win the game after that. I'll go ahead and... The replays I'm going to show you will explain this fairly a lot better than I can explain it. Anyway, that's going to do it for the monsters. Oh, wait, no. And finally, we're playing one Eva. Now, you're going to probably be flaming me on this because, one, you're going to be telling me why am I not playing 2. And second of all, this card did not deserve to be banned. It's like, really did not deserve to be banned at all. If it's sent to the graveyard, you can banish up to 2 fairies in your graveyard to add an X amount of level 2 life fairy monsters equal to the amount of monsters you banished. Meaning, you could get more fuel for your Herald Ultimate. It's basically making an Eva... There's like 2 ways you can send this to the graveyard, and Eva's like one of them. Ultimate is one of them. You have a Beatrice here you can make during your combo. You can send this during your opponent's turn. And basically getting a lot of value from it. Anyway, that's gonna do it for the monsters. The spell cards, we're playing Triple Cyber Emergency because, oh wait, I gotta flex this, rarity Cyber Emergency that I got crafting. Cyber Emergency basically searches any of your Drytron monsters because all of them cannot be normal summoned or set. Now, I really like this because it's like, when your best searchers, like, if you're looking at the deck, like, you have things like Cyber Emergency, you have, Drytron Fafnir, which searches out a Drytron spell, or which searches your Meteos Drytron, or your Drytron Nova, which special summons a Drytron from your deck. Meaning, in total, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then I'm playing 9 Drytron monsters. So you have 18 starters. Like, your deck's playing 18 starters. Like, that's really good. Like, half your deck starters, and most of the deck could get to the Drytron monsters, like, no problem. So, that's just like the max amount I can play, and I'm pretty proud of it, because, it pretty much gives you, like, a lot of, like, ways to start your combos and such. And finally, then we're also playing the 1 Preparation of Rites to search out our Ben 10s and Natashas, but initially you could get back a medium Drytron from your graveyard without using its effect. Meaning, you could really get this card going if you had the medium Drytron in your graveyard, and then you could get your search off Ben 10 if you don't have it already. And finally, to round out the main deck, we're playing Called by the Grave, because obviously this deck hates hand traps, it hates Ash Blossom, it hates Maxi. I mean, I guess with Maxi, you could really just go Vanity's Ruler pass, and then you could just be fine. But for Ash Blossom, you really need to Call by the Grave. You need to Call by the Grave any monster that like disrupts you, like Ghost Bell is another one. And, it's just good for interrupting cards in your opponent's turn if you happen to have to set it. And yeah, that'll do it for the main deck. Now, going to the extra deck, like, I already explained Entis, I already explained Arclight. I mean, you could initially summon this Arclight to get a negate, but I don't like doing that. Like, you'd rather send this to the graveyard. Okay, first Xyz monster is going to be Gloryless Assembled Nightingale, which its only purpose is to attack your opponent directly, which requires 2 level 1 monsters, which all the Drytrons are level 1, including Eva, but I don't think we're ever going to use Eva for that. But this card is going to attack your opponent directly. And there's a purpose with this, and this was Divine Arsenal at AA Zeus Skydunder. And it's pretty much like one of your best ways to get to Zeus with two activations. So Kikamachi Fucho is another way to get to Zeus. Like, is another disruptor. Like, if you don't feel confident with Vanity's Rule, you can just go Kikamachi Fucho fast and just survive on this. Like, it's another way to survive if you don't have Vanity's Ruler accessible. You know, pickers could be choosers. If you want to be, like, the best playing around Maxi, you either have to make Fucho or you have to make Vanity's Ruler. That's, like, the way I see it. And then, your best turn 1 combo with Drytron Mubeta Fafnir with 2 level 1 monsters. And on summon, it sends a Drytron to grave. So, like, if you're missing any of your Drytron combo pieces, like, you can send a Gamma, you can send a Alpha, you can send a Zeta, you can send a Delta to the graveyard. And you get your combo pieces there, no problem. But here is the best part about Mubeta Fafnir. The best part about Mubeta Fafnir is that when you ritual summon using your Meteor's Drytron, you can detach this. You can use its overlay units to count for the attack point requirement. So, like, let's say you have a Zeta attached to a Mubeta Fafnir, and you want to ritual summon, you know, the Herald of Ultimateness. You can ritual summon the Herald of Ultimateness using the attached Drytron Zeta, so you could ritual summon it without losing your Mubeta Fafnir. And yes, it does have a negate effect, but I rarely ever get to use it, so. Like, the negated effect is, like, if you control a machine ritual, which are only ones Draconids, you can detach one to negate a spell or trap, which vaguely comes up. So we're only using this, really, to get a Drytron to the graveyard, but also to supplement our ritual summons. The only reason Downward Magician is in here, because we can ritual summon this during our main phase 2 with our Assembled Naniga or our Fucho, and we use this to go up into into Zeus, and the way you're summoning this is after your Assembled Nightingale battles, or if you happen to be lucky enough to have a Beta Fafnir attack, you can overlay this on top of an Xyz monster, and then by using 2 overlay units, you send everything to the graveyard. So it's gonna dodge effects that destroy. And finally, we're playing for our last Xyz monster. We're playing as Beatrice Radiant the Eternal, which requires 2 level 6 monsters, which we only have 1 level 6, but when we use our Divine Archer Herald to send our Arclight to the grave, that way we could boost this level to 6, and then we ritual summon another Benten. We had 2 level 6 monsters, we could easily make Beatrice, and then we could just send it to the graveyard, anything in our deck. So, like, if we're missing a combo piece, we send it to the graveyard, or we send an Emma, which is perfectly good. Alright, with Link monsters, we're playing 1 Link Revo, because this is primarily used when you activate your Drytron Nova, because you want to get your Drytron monsters to the graveyard, all of them are level 1, this is the best way to send it to the graveyard. So, Link Revo is using this as your combo starter off Nova. Next up, we're playing Nightmare Phoenix, because, like, this is, like, one of your best back row removal. You can just discard any of your cards to destroy a Stellar Trap. You're never gonna get Toe Link effect unless you get really lucky with a Link Revo arrow. And you're just using this to destruct your opponent's back row, you know, anything that could be problematic. You know, like Imperial Order. I don't know why that's still... I mean, it's banned at TCG, but it's legal here. I never really found Imperial Order to be a problem, but apparently a lot of people complain about it. Is it a good thing that it got banned? Next, we're playing IP Masquerena, which basically lets us Link summon during our opponent's turn and makes the Link monster uses Masquerena to be immune to card effect destruction. Which we're primarily going to be using this to make Nightmare Unicorn during the opponent's turn, which lets us discard a card and shuffle back a card your opponent controls into the deck, finish making them lose a card. And it's perfectly, like, literally, like, one of the best disruptor cards we could probably have. And finally, our OTK tools. Borosword Dragon is our first one. It requires 3+ effect monsters to make. We like use Masquerena or Phoenix plus any 2 monsters. We could perfectly make this. And basically, it's basically... So, it switches a monster from attack to defense to let it attack twice. So if you do this properly, it's 8,000 damage. And I probably show you the OTKs that I showcase here with Borosword Dragon. Finally, Exisco Talker is our final monster. 2+ effect monsters. We probably are making this with Unicorn plus any 1 monster. That way it becomes the 5300 attack and lets us pop 1. Which without any disruption whatsoever. So that's basically the whole gist of the deck. Now, if you have any questions about this deck, you can go ahead and let me know in the comment section. And I'll perfectly be able to answer them, like, without a problem. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and show you the replays from both my stream and from the ones I've acquired. So I hope you enjoyed them. Now, I just want to get this replay out of the way because I'm probably you're probably wondering like Drytron's like the complete deck you could possibly play in Master Duel. Now I'm gonna show you in this duel that sometimes it's just not the case. I had a horrible brick here. Now you might be thinking, "Oh, I have a Drytron monster in my hand. Why is it a brick?" It's a brick because it's not alpha, it's not zeta, it's not delta. It's not anything that could get us closer to our medium as Drytron, so we have no starters. So I find out this is Blue Eyes, and the reason I Lancia here is because I don't want him getting any ideas with that Lights Out of Agents. I don't want him banishing it. I don't want him getting like any ideas for an OTK. And as soon as I saw the Chaos Max Dragon, I was super happy I did not use Gamma. I would have been dead there if I was. But anyway, here comes the Chaos Max Dragon, which basically cannot be targeted, cannot be destroyed by card effects, and does double piercing damage. He then bingo machines for I think I gave him the alternative. I don't really. No, he had one in hand already, but either way, he was not able to OTK me. I had to bank on this next draw. And my board I had to deal with was Abyss Dragon. So basically, if I drew any of my Drytron starters, he was perfectly dead. But unfortunately, I top deck Vanity's Ruler, and I really could not do anything there, so I'm just showing you this replay so that you don't complain at me saying that this deck's absolutely the worst. This deck can brick. Just be aware of this. Alright, so here's our first matchup we're going to be showing. And I barely recall most of my matchups that I played earlier. Okay, this is full combo because Fafnir gets us to our Drytron Nova and basically gets us into the Alpha Zeta combo, which basically lets us add our Fafnir, get our Drytron Nova. Oh, I also have Cyber Emergency. Wait, do I have summon the Zeta here actually? Yeah, I do. And then we Cyber Emergency for I think Delta here. Yeah, we do. So you can see where this is going. Like we link summon the Linkaroo here, just so we get the Zeta in the graveyard, but we tribute to Alpha just so we get our Benson at hand, so we get maximum value off the Zeta. And then we have our ritual spell, and then we search the Diviner, which is your first search off the Benson. Then we're gonna overlay the Mubea. And we're gonna send our final combo piece, which is gonna be Gamma. And then we send our Arclight off the Diviner. We're gonna use Arclight to search another Benson. And then we're gonna ritual summon here immediately, just so that we could get our Beatrice play set up. And we're gonna. I think we use this Beatrice to send an Ultimateness. Yeah, we send an Ultimateness to the graveyard because we need to get that set up. And we're gonna use our Gamma to summon back the Alpha, get the tribute out to Benson to add another Benson. And then Medius here says that we have fodder for the Delta. We ritual summon this, and we use the mediums to draw, and unfortunately we drew the Drake and Spitsmine. We added Natasha here. We link the Masquerena. And then we ritual summon our Ultimatus. And basically, this is how your end board's supposed to look like. It's supposed to be like Link Karibo with a Masquerena that could make Nightmare Unicorn during our opponent's turn. We have a Beatrice to send our Ava to the graveyard. And this is 3 negates with a Call by the Grave. And a disruption. So it's basically like 4 to 5 interruptions. Which is basically what you want to be going for every turn. And we're gonna go for the Ava right now so that we don't get it further interrupted. We're gonna Diviner and Arclight add Orange Light Diviner. Okay, he's playing Eldritch, so I cannot let this resolve. And then he instant scoops. Which, this is basically sum up the whole Drytron deck as a whole. Just make sure you have this end board. If you have this end board, you're more than likely winning the game unless they have a Dark Ruler no more. Which, I really forgot to mention this right now, so Dark Ruler no more negates all monster effects. You cannot respond with monsters. So, you just gotta be careful with Dark Ruler no more. I mean, also Forbidden Droplet in some cases, but that's the only way you're really losing there. If you get this end board, you're probably winning the game. Alright, I think this is the duel against Skystriker. Okay, we opened an Evan hand, which is not the worst, but it's not ideal. We want to have that in the deck, but it's fine. So we normal summon the Diviner. And, no, this is not the Sky. Wait, is this a Skystriker duel? Like a Gamut here. Cyphering Gamut, not Drytron Gamut. So this will negate our Diviner. And then our best place is Gamma Tribute to Ben 10. Just so we can get a search for next turn. Which basically is my orange light, so I make sure that... Okay, so I linked some Linkaroo here, so I can have extra like defensive options, because I'm really afraid of like the Chaos Max from earlier. But anyway, this is supposed to be like the double orange light negate, so it's like insurance. And turns out it was Live Twins as they activate Secret Password and get the Semi Snitch. They set 2, then they activate a Semi Snitch to add the Lilla. Now, each of the Light Twins summon each other, so I'm pretty much forced to negate this with the orange light. And then Eva will get us 2 more cards. We're going to get a second Diviner, we're going to get a second orange light. So we have 2 negates. And then they activate that to summon the Kiss to Kill, so I'm forced to negate this again. And basically they're left with nothing. And I still have a Diviner, which was a little lucky, but it helps me develop my plays. Anyway, well, we need a good top deck. And Alpha somehow was one of them. So we summon Diviner, but we get Fogbladed. So we're not going to get a Ritual. And I think we Gamma to Alpha? Yeah, we do. Okay. I don't really recall this, but he has Ice Dragon's Prison, which... I'm just going to tell you what happened here with the Ice Dragon's Prison, why he targeted Diviner. So, it reads, target upon your opponent's graveyard, social into your field, but its effects are negated. Now, what I think happened was that when I activated the Gamma, this is either a misclick or it's the normal summon set clause. I don't really know this one to the bottom of my heart, but I figured it was a normal summon set clause, but go ahead and tell me this one. But anyway, he's just going to banish my Diviner. So we got our Gamma out, we're going to get the Alpha, then we're going to go in for 23. And then we're going to overlay, I think, for the Mubeta Fafnir. Yeah, we're going to again get a Delta Zeta the Graveyard, because we don't have to have, like, we need to set up. And so they draw, and they top deck the Kiss a Kill. And now they link into the Evil Twin Lilla, which will summon I think a Kiss a Kill from the deck? From the graveyard. And then they make the Evil Twin Kiss a Kill, which will get back the Lilla from the grave. And the Lilla pops my Linkaribo, and then they're going to make a Nightmare Griffin, which has no effect because he doesn't have a card to discard, but he gets over my Mubeta Fafnir. And so this situation becomes I need to top deck any Drytron starter, which is basically mostly half my deck. And then I can pretty much OTKM from here. And Gamma draw is going to do it, so we're going to activate Alpha, get the Gamma to grave, search our Benzen. We're going to Zeta. We're going to add a medium as Drytron. We're going to Benton to add Natasha because that's our game ender. He's already dead. We're going to Gamma, get back the Mubeta Fafnir. We're going to medium the Drytron for the Natasha, tributing the Gamma. Oh wait, and then I summon the Masquerena because it's our best way to get Natasha into the graveyard after its ritual summon. We're going to then banish Benton, take his Griffin, and he pretty much knows it was the end of the game. I would have made Moral Sword Dragon, he was already dead. So, this is why you play Natasha.
So summon a monster. Activate the Benton. No, Natasha. You can't make this up. He just rage quit before he got a turn. You can't make this stuff up. You really can't. What?
And the final duel I'm going to be showcasing is the Skystriker matchup, which this highlights Vanity's Ruler perfectly. So I go for this alpha play to tribute to Zeta. He maxes. Now, Maxi, I absolutely dread this card. I'm glad it's banned in the TCG. I don't know why it's not banned here. Basically, if you special summon, they draw one. So I either have to end my turn, make an end board, which basically is the first two options, or I have option C, which is to go Vanity's Ruler pass. And Vanity's Ruler prevents him from special summoning, so he would have to have any way to negate it. So he gets his draw. So typically, when you get Maxed, as a Drytron player, you want to have a setup for Vanity's Ruler at the cost of giving him a card. I mean, in my opinion, it's just worth it. So go Vanity's Ruler pass. Hope he doesn't have any form of negation. We just outright win. But I did find out a Skystriker and he Widow Anchored my Vanity's Ruler, so he has one turn to potentially get rid of it. Or OTK me. He then goes Ray into Hayate. And passes. I knew I was surviving unless he destroys Vanity's Ruler. He sends another Rose off to Hayate. He then makes Shizuku with the Rose. And passes, and that's when I knew I won the game. So he searches the Afterburners, which would have saved him. But instead, I'm just gonna win the game because Vanity's Ruler cannot summon a Ray from the graveyard. If we were normal Diviner, we're gonna send our... Never mind. We're gonna get Effect Veilered. Skystriker tends to play a lot of hand traps. But even in that case, I don't think he played this board correctly. I do not think so. Because, I forget if Skystriker is Zeke, sends a card to the graveyard. So if he would have made Zeke here, if I'm correct, he would have sent the Vanity's Ruler, he would have been fine. But instead he's dealing with this board situation, which, by the way, is a little messed up because of the Shizuku attack drop. But it's fine. Because Mubeta Fafnir wouldn't really care about his overlay units. So we're going to go to searches, we're going to make our Mubeta Fafnir. Sending our Gamma. We're going to medium this Drytron back to Natasha. We're going to gain 1200 life points here. We're going to link those off for IP Masquerena. Then Natasha's going to take Sayate. We gain another 1200 life points. We link for Boral Sword Dragon, so now it's immune to Afterburners if he were to survive, but he's not surviving. We're going to end Gamma the Benton for further setup. And then we're going to add Lancia so that he can banish cards. Skystriker has only one way to banish, but then we're going to add the Minions Drytron for even more insurance. And basically kill him from here. Yeah, he survives on 100, but Bulbasaur switches are to Alpha Defense and attacks again. This is why you need Vanity's Ruler in Drytron. But anyway, that's going to do it. I hope you all enjoyed my Drytron deck profile, and I hope to give you the post-January 22 ban list soon with this deck list. And if you have enjoyed my Master Duel content, go ahead and leave a like, subscribe to my channel. You know, I'm obviously working with Apple Esports with the new intro and such, the jersey as well. Please go ahead and get the big support that we obviously deserve. And if you enjoyed most of my content, be sure to leave a comment or if you have any questions about the deck. But anyway, until the next time, this is Supernova here, and I would like to say thank you for everyone who watches, and I hope you all have a good rest of your day.